Everyone has their favorite portrayal of Sonic. However, not all portrayals are consistent, though I believe all portrayals have a shred of accuracy, but that's for another video essay for another time. Of course, one's perception of Sonic is entirely subjective, and that's okay. We're all entitled to our opinions because all of us discovered the blue blur at different times where different portrayals existed, and what drew us to the Speedy Hedgehog is what we hold dear. And as the title suggests, the 3 Sonic games on the Dreamcast, in my opinion, portray who Sonic is, at his core, the absolute best. It's the stuff that I think all of us eventually grew to appreciate in some form or fashion. Let's explore this, you guys. Okay, so before I begin, I know a lot of people like Sonic's portrayal in games like Black Knight, Unleashed, or even something like Sonic X. But even though the ending of Black Knight and Unleashed were heartwarming, and the second season of Sonic X was an adaptation of the adventure games, the actual games themselves did justice to the Hedgehog in ways that boggle my mind. It shows a side of him that we don't see very often, maybe less than a few times, if at all. In fact, I'd argue that other Sonic media fail to put emphasis on it, and when it shows a glimpse, people overlook it. Sonic is always up for a rematch with whoever was his opponent at that time, but he also has a remarkable capacity to forgive others, even if they greatly wronged him, which is evident a few times outside the adventure games, such as with Silver, who tried to kill him twice. His steadfast heart of gold is the reason he is beloved by fans, both within his universe and in real life, and is the driving factor for his undying charm which attracts friends far and wide. This capacity to forgive allows Sonic to see others for what they truly are, and causes him to fight for a completely different purpose, other than saving the world. Even if the fans deem the adventure era as dated and cheesy, very few games that came afterward just straight up forgot how to capture the true essence of this magnetically charismatic and amicable hedgehog. Allow me to provide some brilliant moments where this part of Sonic shines.
Sonic Team.
All throughout the game, he saw Chaos as nothing more than a mere monster that needed to be dealt with like any other foe, determined to stop it and Eggman from destroying the world. To go from that over the course of the game to understanding Chaos and wanting to save him is astounding when you think about it. Tikal, having seen Chaos's great power, simply wanted to seal him back in the Master Emerald, but Sonic, in his awesome wisdom, knew this wouldn't fix the problem. Assuming that with the aid of flashbacks, he was able to comprehend the emotions of Chaos more than even Tikal, the one who was sealed along with him for 4,000 years, failed to see herself. Though Tails explained how the emeralds could be harnessed to use positive energy, that was solely for the benefit of the player. Sonic already knew in his own mind how to defeat Chaos and restore order to the rampaging water god. Rather than outright using action to take care of Chaos, he used empathy, hence the use of the positive energy of the emeralds to negate Chaos's negative energy absorption.
Oh, it's you, the one who sealed Chaos in the Master Emerald, Tikal.
My heart has always been in the Master Emerald along with Chaos's. Now he's filled with anger and sadness. And if it goes on, he'll eventually destroy the world like he did before. Look! He's absorbed the Emerald's power. He must be sealed in the Master Emerald now!
How can that help? It won't change how he feels inside, will it? His heart will still remain in turmoil, and his anger just won't vanish. He'll just be trapped forever.
Though Sonic tucks away most negative emotions somewhere, obviously masking is not enough for him to turn a blind eye to suffering, which makes sense considering underneath all that dripping sarcasm and confidence is an easygoing, compassionate dude. So yeah, he may not show it until it's absolutely necessary, but he knows definitely better than anyone what it feels like to grow anxious whilst trapped. He also knows the importance of freedom of oneself, even on an emotional level. He could have tried to put Chaos in his place normally and put an end to him like any other villain he's fought, but he instead helped the beast return to his former gentle self, which I think he perceived eventually after each flashback he underwent, to prevent a vicious cycle of becoming trapped once again, seething hatred for far too long, and becoming released and devouring the world. This, in case anyone is wondering, is where the titular theme song's title, Open Your Heart, comes from. Sonic opened his and is essentially asking Chaos to do the same, using the power of the emeralds to push the creature in the right direction. Similarly, there was distinction between Sonic and Shadow, as the blue blur at first saw the black blur as little more than a lookalike that he had to battle and prove that he was the real deal. After all, it's kinda like fighting your own shadow. In the same manner that Shadow displayed that he was impressed with the blue blur's incredible survival skills after using the fake Chaos Emerald to evade death by explosion, Sonic came to respect the black hedgehog as an equal over time, especially towards the end of the game. So much so that the two hedgehogs encourage each other to rest and regain their rings when it's the other's turn to fight the Bio-Lizard. While it's true that if it weren't for Amy and Rouge instigating his flashbacks, Shadow never would have made that change of heart and heroic sacrifice. However, Sonic likely never knew about this since he was in space while it happened, and just assumed Shadow made this choice on his own. But even so, he saw Shadow for the person that he used to be before Maria's death, and ultimately what Shadow chose to remain as when he came back from the dead.
Where is Shadow? Do you really think that the professor created him, or Shadow, to carry out the revenge on all those who live here on Earth?
He was what he was, a brave and heroic hedgehog who gave his life to save this planet. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Heck, Sonic even says,
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
To him as proof of their mutual respect for one another despite their initial rivalry, and despite that he unknowingly echoed the very person Shadow treasured all those years ago. He may not have directly influenced Shadow's turning over of a new leaf, but that didn't stop him from seeing what Shadow's heart looked like when he opened it to fulfill Maria's dying wish. And had Shadow went the way of Chaos, and honestly Gamma, before him, I think all of the build-up that led to Shadow's decision to save Earth would have been more impactful, especially if the Hedgehog's meetup in Heroes had been more properly written to accommodate his apparent survival of falling to Earth's atmosphere. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That topic is for a video essay far into the future. Yes, I'm even counting this obscure party game as part of the adventure era, and honestly, even as overlooked as this game is, it displayed Sonic's knack for comprehending his foes more than any other game. The best part is that before the final showdown with Void, the antagonist of the game, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy also realized Void's true reasoning for seeking out the Precious Stone via dream sequences. They all assumed that Void maliciously shattered the jewel that was meant to contain and protect everyone's dreams, and the realm that Shovel's adventure takes place in, Imaginary World, to destroy them, and by proxy Imaginary World. But in reality, he was just a lonely boy with a faraway look in his eyes, inexplicably drawn to the Precious Stone, hoping it would end all the hurt he felt deep inside. Void and the others never counted on the natural destruction that comes with twisted dark powers. Void never counted on representing the driving force that makes dreams stronger, and that makes people follow their dreams even through hard times. And he never counted on playing the role opposite to Lumina's good half, and the instigator of dreams coming true. On top of that, the band of heroes never counted on how much Void's loneliness had eaten him up inside, to the point that it literally changed him into a rampaging monster. Gee, doesn't that sound a little familiar? Looking at you, SA1.
Why destroy the Precious Stone? Why destroy everyone's dreams?
Am I alone? I am not alone. My friends, my brothers. I want to be whole.
What are you saying?
I was looking for everyone so I could be whole. And I found everyone, but everyone ran away from me. I tried to reach them, but
You sought the Precious Stone because...
I am so lonely. You don't need me? Why was I born?
What's this?
Illumina, why do you reject me?
him.
That's...
Void. Anger, sadness, despair, and emptiness. Aren't dreams born because everyone has these feelings? Don't these feelings make our dreams even stronger? Void. He was probably part of the Precious Stone. He was part of a feeling that is necessary for dreams to come true.
All four characters pitched in to deliver a heartwarming and inspiring speech to ease Lumina's sadness concerning the Precious Stone not being restored despite having defeated Void's monstrous form. But Sonic's opening lines were the most profound of all of them, because like with SA1 and SA2, he stopped thinking with his feet and started thinking with his heart. Since this game released a year after the first game, it's no wonder that this ending echoes SA1's ending. And to be quite frank, some people might see it as lazy, uninspired, regurgitated writing, but I don't think so. And I think that's because it is an indirect sequel to SA1, meaning that it not only takes place between the two games as they were released, but also chronologically in lore. It may not seem like it, but I have a video that I want to talk about that sometime in the future, and hopefully you'll see how. You can consider it headcanon, but you know what? I think it fits. The theme of antagonists changing their ways and making amends is probably one of my favorite morals, or leitmotif if I can call it that, in the Sonic franchise, because even though it appears in more than just the Dreamcast trilogy, Black Knight and Sonic 06 are just two off the top of my head. Literally all three games have these types of characters. SA1 has two. What I adore about the heel-face turn trope shown in all three games is that it shows an inherent goodness in each character. It also shows the player that people are capable of change, even after making bad decisions or falling deep into toxic thinking patterns. Not only that, but it puts emphasis on not making judgments on others too easily, because you never know what ails them on the inside. Chaos isn't evil, he was just acting out in his nature. Any protector would become enraged when his protectees have been harmed. I think if he had known about the harmony between Chao and humans, he might have calmed down. Though I doubt it, cause Sonic, protector of all those in need of saving, was needed to remind Chaos of his true purpose and regain it. Shadow isn't evil. He was just acting out simply because his mind was being tampered with. If your memories were altered to seek out revenge, you wouldn't know your true identity either. If Gerald hadn't acted out in his grief, Shadow wouldn't have caused so much damage. It didn't help that his creator's grandson was evil and sought out to use Shadow for his own bidding. But Amy, who coincidentally caused a course correction in Gamma's path of life, with her pointed and potent kindness, made Shadow's true self come back. And Void, while being the antagonist of Shuffle, is certainly not evil. He never did any deliberate harm to anyone. He didn't need any change of heart. It was Lumina's discrimination against him that needed to change. You could call this a red herring of sorts because the player was led to believe that Void was exactly as Lumina described. There was zero reason to believe otherwise until the pieces were put together through the dream sequence cutscenes. Granted, Void's powers were destroying Imaginary World, but it was Lumina's unacceptance of Void and all that he stood for which tore the realm completely apart and nearly doomed it to extinction. She wasn't evil either though, just lost and confused, and also having a bit of amnesia. And it took 4 dreamers to help Lumina, the actual person who needed rescuing, to be reminded of why Imaginary World exists at all. She needed help to give the realm revitalization and refulfillment. What all the antagonists each have in common is that they all had agony festering inside that needed understanding and zero judgment to heal their brokenness. But most of all, they all needed friendship. Friends are a treasure for a reason. They're one of life's many gifts when the going gets tough. And so, this villain gone good thing will never get boring to me. Because honestly, how could it? As long as there's a smiling, peace-loving hedgehog around to maintain tranquility, how could I possibly become bored of feeling my heart swell up? Nah, I'll take as much as I can get, and try to apply it all to real life, cause... And as far as I'm concerned, there's no better portrayal than these 3 games. Wait, before you click off, please leave a comment, then like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Also,
don't forget to subscribe
and turn on notifications. Links to social media and other stuff is in the description. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget, emptiness does not conquer dreams. Dreams conquer the emptiness.